'cause I don't ever want no one else but you. 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 No one else but you.
I believe that for intimacy, emotional intimacy, it's important that you're intentional about it. To tell you the truth, when it's just like the two of you, like before the kids come in and everything like that, it's easier. And then we'll not talk about other people, but we'll talk about ourselves. I feel like when the kids started coming, because God, the way he works, from no kids to like a quiver that is full. Yeah, so you start paying attention to the kids and not your partner. Yeah, because like even the first thing when you wake up in the morning, you've got the kids on your mind, like, need to prepare them for school, we need to do this, we need to do that, and the day just goes like that. You actually forget your partner. Okay, and so if you are not intentional, you will forget. Not that you're forgetting because you wanted to forget, but life just happens. Okay, you can imagine, like, I'll just give an example. You wake up in the morning, and now with this challenge of Zesco, you're trying to do certain things within a certain window of time. And so you're trying to get yourselves ready for school, for work, and everything else. And now we're learning to also tone down. If a child is not doing what they're supposed to do, you're like, hey, you know. And by the time you're getting in the car, like, okay, we're on the road, you're caught up in traffic. Okay, you're at your places of work. Places of work, time to get back home, back in traffic, pick up these kids in the car, daddy this, daddy that, you know. And you've got, like in our case, we've got kids that even if you're trying to talk, they'll be daddy, mommy, until you answer them. So because of life in itself happening, children are a blessing, we thank God, but we need to be intentional and actually just say, okay, like now guys, it's just me and mommy, so we'll sit together. She's maybe trying to do a bit of manicure, you know. They'll even come like, oh, they'll even see, oh. But I think that has some closeness. We used to watch TV together. Now we don't even watch. It's even before Zesco happened. But oh, sorry, before power outages.
This is interesting. Like, the question is interesting because, like, for me this year, intimacy is very big, and I think for a number of years we've been having very, I don't know, we're really like intimate, like emotionally intimate. Physically, yes, but like there's that other aspect to it, because I looked up another definition of intimacy, and it was talking about a feeling of knowing and being known, like fully, like where the other person knows you for who you are, all your strengths, your weaknesses, like you're fully naked in a sense. So in terms of like intimacy, we've been working through getting to a place of high intimacy with one another. I think being friends has definitely been something that sort of made us a little bit, not lax, I don't want to say lax, because we do put effort into it, but it's not that sort of thing where we're like, okay, we need to sit down now and tell me about your day, tell me about Johnny. Pour out your soul. What are you struggling with, like with the checklist? Also because, like you said, with kids, life has been something.
Roller coaster ride. So first and foremost, I think for us, the whole understanding the love languages thing has been very helpful. And also, excuse me, like understanding when your partner says this is their love language, like what do they actually mean?
Yeah.
because I think it varies from person to person. When somebody says quality time, what that may mean for one person and be different from what it means for another person. So for us, I think, well, for me, over the years, getting to appreciate my wife's primary love languages has been very helpful.
Which is?
Because her primary love language is quality time. And, like we said earlier, there is a vision that she has of that quality time, which is like, intimate setting, shut the whole world down, throw away the phones, laptops, and all that crazy stuff, and just connect, talk about us. Okay, that's her vision of quality time. And I think understanding that over time has been helpful for me, because then even when she sends the signals to say, like, I
need some attention.
Exactly. Like, I know exactly what to do, but I also know exactly what she means, because there was a time I didn't know what she means, and that was frustrating, draining, and throws you in this space where like you feel very inadequate, like like I was saying, like, what do you expect me to do, kind of thing. So just having that understanding and appreciation of how world looks like, what the expectations are in that space has been helpful. Actual practicality for us looks like, so from her end, that's how she wants to be loved.
Yes.
If I say I love you, then the translation is I'm ready to make time for us to be together, to talk about us, and to just refresh each other.
Not when we are talking, you're dozing, right?
Dozing, which is a favorite pastime of mine. No dozing, no, not being distracted and stuff like that.
You say dozing.
Yeah.
And you say I'm your lullaby.
She's my lullaby, when she's telling me stories and all of that.
Can you imagine? I'm pouring out my heart to him. I'm like, baby,
the spirit of slumber.
And then he sleeps. And then I'm like, so baby, what do you think? And I used to be mad.
Snap out of it. Like, what did you say?
Thank God for Jesus.
You just have to deliberately, even if it means setting a timer on your phone, just so that you don't become siblings.
She actually sets timers on her phone.
Because days can actually go by anyway. Sometimes I just have to force myself. I just think I'm not your sister. Like maybe you're just carers. Like those people become like the main thing happening in your life, and maybe even the whole thing of maybe there's school, there's work schedules, and you just become tired. Like you're tired, you can't do anything, so you just have to try to force yourself to remain connected, or try to force yourself to find activities that you can do together so that you remain connected. Because it's very easy to draw apart, not because you have fought or because there's a difference, but just because you're not spending enough time together or working on your relationship.
It boils down to love languages. What really fuels your tank? I love quality time. So at some point I would in the night you just lights are off, and I'll just tell her we just start talking about different things like stories, and that would be so cool for me. I know sometimes she'll be irritated, she wants to sleep.
Because he sleeps at the drop of a hat, and then when he starts talking to me, my sleep goes, and then 2 seconds later he's fast asleep, and then I'm there.
Yeah, so for me, quality time it fills my tank. To be able to just be there, share stories, do random stuff. Sometimes I'll just say, hey, like Louise is not a random person. She doesn't like that. So I've kind of like accepted that, because sometimes I just want to say, hey, it's weird. Like I feel like I just want to, let's just go out and sit outside at a random time, like 19 hours. Let's just go out and sit outside. I'm thinking, and I'm like, I want to go outside and sit out. I'm like, she's not gonna want that. I just drop it.
Sometimes I do it. Sometimes I'll be nice.
But I like,
Just go for a walk around the yard. Okay.
I love random stuff. So I think for me, like that, like to answer your question, I think it's more to do with what fills my tank, and that just it keeps me connected to her. If I would say that there's been a point where I felt like I was just living with a roommate, like I've heard that statement so many times, and honestly I don't even know what it means, and I don't even know how you get there, because like everything else, like for me what matters is that I'm okay with my friend. Like, are we okay? Like, can we talk? Can we understand each other? Are we good? Because everything else, sex, whatever, those are just
bonuses.
Those are bonuses. I always think even children are bonuses, by the way, because one day, who knows, something happens and your friend, you can't have sex, then what? The marriage is over. So I think for me that's the biggest thing. It's just that I feel connected to her, and my tank is being filled. I feel connected to her, then everything will fall.
That's what I've made one of my goals for this year, is where we do actually spend more time together. Also in this, me, I like nice things. So me, I like going somewhere with her. We go check out spaces. So sometimes when I go maybe for a meeting with someone, and then I see a new place and it's looking fancy, she's the first person I'm thinking of, like, it would be nice to bring her here. We just come and taste food. And then maybe we like it or we don't like it. Things like that. And I want to do more of that, especially starting this year.
There are times I would sit, or maybe I'm listening to the news, or maybe watching certain thing, and then you hear like there's this couple that have been married for 35 years and they're getting a divorce. Like how? Because I thought like the longer you are in your marriage, the more closer you get to your partner. And but then I think what causes people to draw apart is the same issue of not being intentional about their time together, because we end up losing our focus on your spouse, and then the focus goes onto the kids, and then now because the focus is on someone else, even when she does like a small tiny thing, it becomes irritable. Because like I've lost the focus. I would have overlooked it if I was closer, but now that I'm closer to the kids, so whatever she would do, I might easily go like. But if I am intentional and go like, no, let me be intentional, let me continue to love her, let me continue to show her that I love her, and things like that, I think it helps.
His primary love language is acts of service. Even though sometimes he also loves gifts and so on.
Yeah.
So
somewhat interchangeable.
Yeah. So like for me, I know how to sort of make him happy. So if we're at home, for example, if I want to fill his emotional tank, I need to make for him a nice meal, nice, mocktail or whatever.
Dessert.
Like even if it's simple, like I'm sure people are listening and like, oh, Rose can cook. Like even if it's so simple, just because it's as long as it's coming from me, he appreciates. So I do that, or if I'm out somewhere, I come with a parcel for him. He loves that. Or I take him out and he goes to have a good meal.
That's it.
He loves that.
Indian meal.
Some Indian meal.
Salad tea.
Yes, but obviously as well, if I make him happy in the other room, you know what I'm saying? So yeah.
In the inner chambers. Yes.
Thank you for opening the door.
You know what it is.
I think for me, it's making sure that everything else around us, as much as it's happening, our core is not tampered with. And this is not my own intelligence, because this could only be the Holy Spirit. And why I say this is because I didn't grow up in a home where this was modeled for me. I didn't have a conversation with anybody where this was told to me. It definitely didn't come up in premarital, and none of the church mamas told me about this. So when we had Caleb, who is our firstborn, there are certain things that the Holy Spirit led me to do, which now in hindsight you can see like that was him. And if I didn't do those things, we probably would not be as healthy as we are right now. So things like a bedtime routine for your kids, having a time when at least once a month you can take them somewhere. I know some people don't have their moms. I'm so privileged to have my mom, so my mom helps us with the kids even up to now. She started with Caleb from when he was like 6 months old. She would take him with his formula and all that, take him for the weekend, and we would have the weekend by ourselves. Then Kiara came, so we would have the weekend at least with just one baby. The toddler was gone, and would have someone come and babysit Kiara for 2 hours, 3 hours, and just go for a date and come back. It kept us going. Obviously, when you have kids, things change, but at least it kept us going. We didn't go from having that to completely nothing.
Yeah.
And then having the kids in bed at a certain time leaves us room at the end of the day to connect.
Oh yeah.
We have dinner together without screaming children. We love watching TV shows, so we can watch a show, relax.
Yeah.
You kind of feel like you've unwound from your day. And then that's where even the physical intimacy and all that can come up, because you're not so exhausted and you don't have a baby or your kids, running around. So for us, having that strict bedtime for them, and a lot of people find it very surprising. We'll have friends over for dinner and maybe they'll come at 7 p.m. We're like, oh, dinner is at 7 p.m. and they come in and it's so quiet. They're like, where are the kids? We're like, they're sleeping. How are they sleeping? And it's like a shock to people. We've had even worship night at home, and he's playing the piano and we're worshiping in the living room. They're like, how are your kids still sleeping? We're like, sound machines were invented for the body of Christ. So yeah, things like that have kept us sane, for lack of a better term, because you love your kids. And when they come, obviously all the focus is on them because they need you. But then you have to remember that outside of the kids, because they are just a bonus, the two of you are the main thing, and you have to keep the main thing the main thing. One other thing we did was none of our kids slept in our bed.
Oh yeah.
And a lot of people would be like, oh my gosh. But for us, it was just a non-negotiable. Again, it's not like someone told me. It wasn't even a conversation we had. I genuinely believe it was just wisdom from the Holy Spirit. So we had a nursery right across our bedroom. We would sleep with our door slightly open, and we had a baby monitor because the sound machine would be on in the baby's room, and the minute you hear the baby crying, I would go, yes, it's
work.
It's work, because you just want to roll over and breastfeed, right? You don't want to have to get up because then your sleep is tampered with and all, but the investment is worth it. Because now our kids don't feel entitled to come and sneak into our bed because they've never slept in our bed. It's not something that they know. so they can't, interfere with us time. When they've been sick, we'll pull like their mattress into our room just so you can check on them, and for them they think it's so fun. They're like, when are we camping in your room again? And so we've done that a few times where they've fallen asleep, and then when we're done with what we're doing, we'll lift their mattress and then they'll wake up in our room and they find it so cool. But that doesn't happen every day. So for us, that's how we've kind of protected that time, giving ourselves room to connect during the day. How was your day? Eat in peace, have adult conversation, watch a TV show, unwind, and then that leads to sex, and you have all that and it's uninterrupted. Yeah.
Remember asking when was the last time you said I love you? Long time ago, we'd have like routines, like in the morning, you always say kiss good morning, kiss goodbye. Then all of a sudden, things that just start happening. Hey, hurry up! You can't keep those routines anymore. You have to maybe come up with new routines, or just things get confused. But
yeah, the new routine is what is like. Okay, the bottom word is just be intentional about it.
We've had to work through a lot of stuff, and I think for us, going through different things, like there's been a lot of different traumas that we've gone through in the course of our marriage. I think those have also helped us have major moments of pausing and stopping and connecting and really talking through a lot of things. And it's done a lot in terms of helping with our emotional intimacy. But we are one of our big things is we want to spend more time together, because we spend a lot of time together as parents. We spend a lot of time together as best friends. We spend a lot of time together as people who work together. But we want to get better at actually having a more we're lovers kind of intimacy. Yeah.
I think for me, when she's doing all these fancy things, she's done up, she does her hair, she goes to do her nails, things like that. I think I'm really loving
the rest of the time.
Hey, come on. The rest of the times we are those are counted, but then I'm talking about the extra things.
Okay,
so the extra things, these are sort of they are really sort of really sticking out, saying, oh wow. I love that. I love that. Yeah. So it's things like that for me. So I'd rather talk about those things, because I know there's the normal things that just sort of come out they're a bit played out because I've always been seeing them.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. I see this every day. Yeah, but when you do the extra things, it's like, oh, look at you. Hello there. Hello there.
He's blushing.
No, I'm just shocked.
I think over the years with us, it's been a challenge. It's been a challenge for me, because I told you I love random things. Mm-hmm. So that randomness carries into the sex life. Mm-hmm. And as much as, yes, there can be some randomness, but it's the randomness of my randomness has been weird over the years. It's the randomness where I don't want to say, hey, can we have sex? If I say that, it turns me off. I want it just to happen. How? Then, yes, so, it's stuff like that. I don't really want to talk about it. I just want, okay. But the moment it's can we have sex? It's a turn off. Let's not say it. You know what I mean? Let's not say it. But yeah, I think communication is key. And I think over the years, you have to be intentional to learn what your friend likes, what they don't like. Aside from your battles of trying to grow in the air, because everything has to be. You have to grow in everything. Mm-hmm. We've been talking about our finances. Obviously, our finances You have to grow in your finances. You start from being responsible, then you grow. Even in your sex life, you have to grow.
Yeah.
You started from, you can't mention the word sex. Now you sex. Let's talk about sex, baby. Yeah, because it's a good thing. Yeah.
We get it going. We get bouncy. That's it right there. Supposed to give detail, at least to a certain degree.
Yeah.
Even outside the dates, just like within our space, like it's something that we've been deliberate about to just make time for each other. Like not like the Bible says, don't deprive one another. So for us, like that's a code of practice that we don't deprive one another of the conjugal rights, like they call them. You know what I mean? Like making sure that your partner is well serviced.
Yes.
Okay.
And you don't even have to wait for your husband. Whoever is free can sort of ensure that they save the partner.
It's almost impossible to have physical intimacy if there's no emotional intimacy. Otherwise, it's like a duty. But it's very important, and also we need to be intentional because, like, also if you're physically not okay, maybe you're not healthy, or you're tired, or you're emotionally tired or separated, it's very difficult to get intimate physically. So that's why we need to also be intentional about that, because I know that we get tired maybe with life. You're getting tired from work, you can just, if you're not careful, you'll just be seeing all the days passing, boom 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 boom, just go into bed, boom, someone falls asleep. Yeah, so that's why we need to actually ensure that we make a way, not that you have to make a timetable, but don't just let the days be passing 1, 2, 3, nothing is happening. Otherwise you get used and you start thinking you're living with your brother or your sister.
And I think one other thing is like being a little bit naughty. I'll call it naughty. Naughty in the sense that prepare your partner. Like, just let them know, like, this is what is on my mind. Okay? Yeah. She would send a note. Yeah. If you've got code words that you use them. You don't know which kid is going to get hold of the phone. So, yeah. Journey to Jerusalem, whatever.
So just so Zixta won't get you to say I was sending obscene materials.
Yeah. So just if you've got some code words that you can use, send them. You prepare your partner in advance so that they know that, okay, tonight, whether you are tired, please have some time for me. Yeah. If I have in mind, like, okay, I know I'm tired, but I need to reserve some energy for my friend. Yeah. So we continue being intentional and just preparing your partner for what is to come, your journey to Jerusalem.
2 things. Okay, for me anyway. Knowing that you're safe with the person, I think is very key. Like, there's been different seasons of like me, both mentally and physically, because of course, like I mentioned, like there's been different seasons, different traumas. We lost our, and I know this might not seem like it's directly related to physical intimacy, but just stay with me just for a moment. We lost one of our best friends suddenly years ago. He probably had like a brain aneurysm or a stroke or something, and he was in hospital for a couple of days and then he died. Then we lost our baby, and it was very traumatic because we found out we were going to have a miscarriage, I think like a week before it actually happened, a week to 10 days. And then when it did happen, we had to get like, the hospital gave me medication to make it happen. And then that was a whole big thing because it went very, very bad very quickly. And I had to be in the hospital, and then I had to have a procedure done. And then we've had situations where, like, our second pregnancy, I had to be on bed rest because my cervix was opening midway through the pregnancy, and then our son was born early. Just different things, like, over the years that have just sort of like they knock the wind out of your lungs. Excuse me. We process through different things, and those kind of emotions sort of like come up to the surface. And, you know, like he said, we're both constantly growing in different ways. There's a lot that you go through mentally, but even physically, I think it's after I even like lost the first pregnancy. Like, my body's also been in different places. I've been small, I've been big, I've been bigger than I've ever been, and then I've been small again, and then I've been big again. My hormones have been imbalanced over the years. Obviously, things are happening to his body as well. Not the same though, but through it all, I think the thing that's made physical intimacy possible, enjoyable, and even like something that we seek out is, for me, I've always mentally felt safe. In every season, in every space that my body or my mind was, I've always felt safe with Emmanuel. Like, I felt like he saw me and he knew me and he accepted me where I was at whatever time I was there. Some seasons have been like more and easier than others when we talk about like intimacy. Other seasons have been like, to be real legit, like we had to buy lube because like I'm there mentally, I'm there, but my body is just in a random place and it's not responding because obviously something's going on with my mind. But yeah, I think for me it's the safety of knowing that I'm with someone who loves me, who sees me, who protects me, who always desire me because he first desired my mind. Knowing that, I think, has been like the biggest thing for me in terms of our physical intimacy. It's made it something that I desire and actively seek out. Something that I enjoy because I know that there's just something about that physical and emotional connection. Sometimes it even feels a little bit spiritual. That connection you have with like this person who is a safe space for you. Yeah. And like we said, keeping it fun, keeping it playful. Yeah.
Keeping it fun.
Keeping it fun.
I think I mentioned that one of the biggest struggle for me was losing our babies. And I also talked about how you need to keep that friendship alive because everything else is a bonus. Well, you'd be interested to know that when we lost our first baby, the second pregnancy, she got a suture, and you know what happens when somebody has a suture?
No sex. 0.
9 months, 10, 11, 12 months, 1 year.
Oh, Jesus.
Yes. So now, how do you survive? If that was the thing that you felt was holding you together, you know, it's all about the sex, and then you have to go 1 year without because your friend can't. What do you do?
It's very dangerous. You know, not to meet each other's needs, emotional needs, sexual needs.
Yeah.
It's very, very critical because obviously when it comes to sexual needs, like the marriage bed is a blessed bed. It's an altar. Yeah. You know, the Bible talks about the living, cleaving, and becoming one flesh. You know, living and then you cleave. So you can't cleave with, for example, if I'm not happy, how are you going to cleave with me?
Yeah.
That's why we have these crazy memes of women who say that, you know, the time my husband is making love, I'm busy plaiting my hair, I'm busy thinking about other things. Because for a wife, you know, you need to touch my heart if I have to give you, you know, the all of me. It's easy for us to pretend. That's why some women don't even reach orgasm. You know what I'm saying? Because, like, you're like, okay, dude, like you've been playing all along, you've been on your computer, you've been rhyming, producing beats and stuff like that, and then you come in the night and you're like, can you service me? Yeah, I'm taught to give you husband, so I'm just gonna give you my body. But what's that?
Yeah.
Is there the cleaving there? Is there the becoming one flesh? And that's what the devil maximizes also, because the more you cleave and become one flesh, the more you become an inseparable bond.
Word.
Not even ministry should affect that, right? Not even
100%.
ministry.
100%.
And it's something that because work and
This is the real ministry.
yes, this is a real ministry.
Yeah.
Because work gets busy, ministry everything gets busy, and you're like, oh no, I'm serving God. Well, you need to serve each other, and you need to make time, and it should be. You need to enjoy it. You know what I'm saying? You need to enjoy it.
I recently I listened to a video somewhere. When is the best time to have sex? It's when one person desires or wants, right? Because it's very almost impossible. Okay, when you grow, but when you're new, like honeymoon, it's usual that both of you want to have sex at the same time. But when you're tired with life, it's very unusual that both of you want to have sex at the same time without any communication. It will be rare. So if one person desires and they don't say, they just keep it to themselves, and the other person maybe doesn't want, and then that's when the days will just keep on going, because this other person has no desire. This other person who has the desire hasn't said anything, or they haven't initiated. So the lesson we learn there is that when your friend initiates, just try to put yourself into the gear and go along with them, and saying I'm tired, or maybe whatever excuse. Even if you're tired, maybe just try to go an extra mile for your friend, because after all, that's why you're there. That's why they got married to you. So because the truth is that it's I know when you're getting married, you're so excited about having sex, and you don't have to plan, or it just happens. Maybe you're even on leave, but then when you start getting busy with life, work, and maybe school, maybe you have to study, you have to work, you have to do what, you have to cook, maybe you have kids to take care of, you have visitors, your life can just be going like that. And if every time maybe one person initiates or expresses desire, and then the other one always gives excuses, maybe the other one, or the one who is maybe always initiating, will start thinking, why am I always the one initiating? Is there something wrong with me?
I think for when we struggled, there was a period where we really struggled with this, because of yours truly, who wants random, doesn't want to say when he wants to have sex. And then as a guy, everything just builds up, and you feel like a volcano which is going to erupt. And then your friend is just wondering what's going on with this person. And by the time you are saying, this is what I'm going through, you're already frustrated. So really talking about, okay, this talk about what goes on with you. And then also we said, okay, let's try scheduling. Maybe scheduling can help, because if you are in a place like the place that I was in, where I can't really say the word, and I can't say that I want this, let's try scheduling. So let's try scheduling it and see how that works. And again, you feel like, scheduling, whatever. But again, it's about the plan and whatever. And then it just flows from there. We don't have to schedule it anymore. Because
we've grown.
Yeah. I can say 6, eh?
Glory to God.
Lord Jesus. There's a God somewhere.
They could be sitting there thinking, okay, so how do you ensure that you're consistent?
Yeah.
It's the indicators that like that open and honest communication is important. So if I'm feeling like I am in need, I need to be able to openly communicate with my partner, and vice versa. So those indicators that are showing up in our relationship are like the lights on the dashboard of the vehicle that show you to say, okay, something needs attention. And if you don't address it, the engine will knock, or you'll find a fault gets worse or something. You need to have those indicators for your marriage that are visible to both of you, and you can easily highlight and say, I think we need to address this, so that you are together making it work.
And then there's also one other thing that I think my wife has also told me before, that we will always go to bed at the same time. Yeah, because if we go to bed at different times, by the time I'll be going, she'll be asleep. Now for me to start waking her up and things like that, I'm like, she's tired. Or I go to bed and then she'll find me dead asleep, And so to avoid that, we have opted to go to bed at the same time. So like you wait for your friend until they're done with everything that they're doing, and then we go to bed at the same time. All right. But then again, it does not mean that it's only at bedtime. Yeah, let's not get this one wrong or mixed up. Like it only happen at night. Yeah. Bring the spark back by being random. It can happen in the morning, it can happen during midday when you get home at lunch, or whatever time it is. Make love whatever time you would want to make love, rather than waiting for the same time at night every time. Because we've already said at night we are tired. So let's find ways of trying to just spice things up. Yeah, and how it's going to get interesting again. Okay, for younger couples, like she said, it's easier, but for older couples, we need to find like, what is it that will excite us once again, like bring the spark back in our marriage. Yeah.
So if it's 10 hours and you're at work, maybe just send a text, prepare yourself or get ready, whatever, but just send the message. That will make the other person aware that today there's no skipping.
Yeah, today I'm feeling like
today
this.
There's no skipping.
Yeah.
Obviously, work gets busy, life gets busy, but you can't. You are married, and in a month, you're not even making love. And you're good. No, my husband is cool with it. Like, he doesn't complain. Even me, no, it is wrong.
Yeah.
You need to consistently, I'm not saying we are perfect, but you need to be aware that it's important for you to live and cleave and become one flesh. It's important for you to be bonding, to be making love. No matter how busy are you, find time.
100%.
You know what I mean? That's why if you can go out once in a month, once in a quarter, and some people just wait until after the end of the year when you go out. What will be happening? You know what I mean? And then these are some of the things that now will cause people to be tempted.
Exactly.
Because if your tanks are empty, and then you meet this guy, this girl, what happens? And you are so confused. It was like, look, me, I'm a woman of God. How could I do this?
Yeah.
You've neglected yourself.
Right.
And guess what? Anything you neglect, someone will find time to pull in it. I tell people I like to eat healthy. So one of the things I do is when I'm going for work, I packed lunch all the time. Sometimes the food is not okay, but as long, I mean not nice, not delicious, but as long as it's from home, it's healthy, I go for work. You know why I do that? I would rather have food that I haven't really enjoyed, but is healthy, than I find myself in a space that I'm so hungry and that I go and buy junky food. Because if I'm so hungry, I'll forget that I like to eat healthy. I'll just go and say, just give me. And then after eating, I'm like, oh my God, what did I do? That's the same thing with marriage. People stop because the whole month are not making love, and you're still okay that we are married. Like, is it normal? No, my husband is cool with it. Okay, yeah. So anyways, yeah. You see? And then you're both okay. And you think you're both okay. No, we understand each other. No. The devil is playing with you.
Right.
On my end, I would say falling into believing the myths, believing that sex is the be all and end all. Everything must revolve around sex. Believing what social media and just media in general puts out there about sex. So, for example, a young bride would think, oh, I must wear lingerie all the time because that's what I see in the movies. That's what I see in the media, right? Homeboy doesn't like that. Like, it does nothing for him. So I have all these pieces of lingerie that I've had in a drawer for years that I don't use, because you have to figure out what works for you. You can't just copy paste, Yes, you have counselors, you have people who talk to you about these things before you get married, but that's just a guide. And then you have to build your sex life on that foundation, but you are building. You can't just say, oh, they do that, or I saw this in a movie.
Do that.
And then for ladies, I think, especially if you're married to an African man, you have to kind of understand that they have a rhythm, and being mindful of the fact that sex is also serving your partner means understanding that they have like a cycle, and there's certain number of days. You have to learn your partner, like, he can't go beyond this number of days and not be cranky and not be irritable and be less productive at work. And these are all bodily functions that actually affect how productive your spouse can be in the real life, in the real world. And pretending that is not the case doesn't help. There are studies that show there are different chemicals that are released when you have sex that help with sleep and help with stress and help with lowering blood pressure.
Endorphins.
Yeah, and just help with long life in general. And that's how God made it. So even just being aware, there are times when I would tell him, like, sex is not just for you. So even if I might not be in the mood off the bat, your way of serving me is to help me get in the mood, because you know that physically I need sex. I might not know that I need it because my to-do list is long and I've got kids and all that stuff. But if we know that this is about serving each other and caring for each other and loving each other in that way, then we can also have each other's back in that regard. Having babies changes your body. It changes what you like. I think men will rarely go through that change where one thing used to work and now it doesn't work. But if that happens, communicate, because your partner is doing the thing she thinks you like and it's just not working. But for us ladies, speaking from experience, when you have babies, you give birth, your body just changes and shifts. And so some things which early in your marriage were good, and now they are not good. Or if you're breastfeeding, some things that were good are now not good, Also, depending on where you are in your cycle, because women have a cycle. And again, that's just natural. Let's stop pretending like it's taboo. It's natural. So where you are in your cycle also affects how you respond in the bedroom, and when you are more in the mood and when you're less in the mood and your partner needs to, do a bit more. And
now the cycle app.
Yes. So he has my cycle app, and it gives him cues.
It tells me, message pops up and says, Louise is about to enter this period. Be nice to her.
Yeah, but all this, it all boils down to communication, which we are taught to believe is, I don't know, weird, especially as Christians, so there's a layer of being African, and then there's now the Christian layer, and you feel like, we can't talk about this. But no, like, God made sex. He made intimacy. He is the orchestrator of all this. Yes, it's been taken over by the world and twisted and perverted, but we need to regain it back and stop letting it be a stronghold in your marriage, but let it actually be something that is useful for your marriage.
Yeah.
Well, I remember even this is not new culture. I remember even in the olden cultures in the past. In the village.
My secret.
This is a secret, yeah, but it's a not secret, Now he said that you don't have to wait for the night. In the African setting where people live in the villages, and he also talked about codes. Even in the African setting, people had codes. Like maybe the wife will be outside there. We'll find a way of calling the wife into the house for something to happen. And quickly they'll go. Even them, they had tomafichis. They come out. The other people won't know what was happening or whatever. But the thing is, you're married, so you have a license to have it anytime, anywhere. Yeah. So the thing is, just don't be too. Each of us should not be too rigid. We should be open, and we should also be willing to be available for the partner when our partner needs us, and also know that that's one of the primary reasons you got married. So you need to keep that area active, otherwise you become siblings.
Yeah, it's actually very, very possible, because like we said, we're not perfect. Like you would find the times exactly where you think like, I'm just tired right now, and you forget your partner. Yeah, and then she will have to remind you, hello, I'm not your sister. Okay, so, or you have to what's the right word, think ahead. Yeah.
Sexual intimacy also helps you relieve stress. Too many men out there, especially men, too much stress, because it ain't happening. So when it's happening, you find.
Another thought that's just come to mind for me personally is that it's not that complicated. Like, sex is not that complicated.
Yeah,
You're in the bed, I'm in the bed. Like, it does not have to be all that, guys. Yeah, there are times when the kids are away and you can plan this romantic night, but who has time for that every day? Really?
Yeah, practicality.
Practically speaking,
some people get married and they're thinking they're gonna have sex every day.
Yeah, and I mean, if you are able to, do you? But if you want that, like if that's the frequency you need, you also need to understand that there's going to be a type of sex that you will need to have. So if you're going to go for quantity over quality, you have to choose one or the other. Yeah. So it's not that complicated. It doesn't have to be this whole dim the lights and I don't know. You're right there and I'm right here.
Let's just turn off the lights.
Yes.
No roses on the bed every
and if you have kids, lock the door.
Yeah. Sounds like you're talking from experience.
No, because he's so good at locking the door. We've never had any. Yes, praise the Lord.
Oh yeah, no, that.
The part that we talked about it being emotionally connected. When you're not emotionally connected with someone, it's very difficult for you to have some of these discussions with each other. You might maybe not, like maybe you want to say something, like you don't know how to say it, or maybe those days when you're dating, you're fearing to say it. But then it's also important for us to be a couple to be able to discuss with each other, maybe what they like, or what they would want their partner to do to them, or do for them, or do together, and not just imagine and expect the other person to know exactly what they're supposed to do for you to feel good. You actually have to express it to them, so they can't just know it, and you can't just be doing things the same way 100 years. No change. Allow room for new adventures, learning. Just be open with each other. After all, you're both in the same school, learning new things together, and that's your partner, and there's no other partner, that's just your partner. So whatever you would think of wanting to try, they're the only person you can do it with. So that's the reason you need to be open with them about what they want to do, and also about how you feel. And so just be open. Say, okay, when you touch me here, you should be touching me there very much. But then again, if they tell you touch me there, it doesn't mean just be touching there alone.
So, marriage has got seasons. There are seasons when things are good, they're hunky-dory, and then there's seasons when it's a drought. There are seasons when things are tough. It's important that as a couple, you understand the season that you are in, okay? So that you learn to navigate around that season in your marriage. Because you do not always be the same season for forever. Some seasons are short, some are long, but we just need to understand that in this season, what we need to do, I think in this season, what I've been doing, I've been selfish. Let me try and get out of this and be a lover to my spouse, or in this season I feel like I've neglected this, I've neglected that, but because of everything that's going on, you get to see, this is where I'm missing it. So learn to identify the seasons that you're in. They kind of like help you to actually come out of that season. But if it's a good season, let it continue, But I'm talking about seasons where there are challenges. Yeah.